All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Indie Unplugged. My name is B. Vaughn. Of course, I am the host, creator of We Create Music TV, the Indie Unplugged. And today we have an amazing guest that is with us. Let me give you an introduction of who the guest is today. So we have Miss Coxx, born in Atlanta, Georgia, is a dynamic singer, songwriter, rapper, actress, and all-around entertainer whose journey from the Decatur music scene to global independent recognition is a testament to resilience and creative innovation. Rooted in Southern grit with Northern and Panamanian cultural influences, Miss Coxx wrote her first verse at age 10 and began performing by age 16, touring nationally and building a loyal fan base. Her music, which she describes as mood music, blends R&B, rap, hip hop, and pop, creating an emotional and versatile sound that resonates across diverse audiences. Beyond music, she's crossed into acting with roles on platforms like Tubi, Amazon, and Peacock, and her original music has been featured in films that she's been a part of, bridging her artistry across different mediums. Her breakout singles like Go Hard, Damn Right, and Headboard featuring Little Dirk have landed her on independent radio charts and significant streaming traction worldwide. A proud graduate of Miles College with a degree in mass communication, Ms. Coxx continues to expand her brand through creative projects, tours, and cultural engagement, all while staying true to her roots and inspiring artists on similar paths. So, ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Ms. Coxx. All right. All right. Well, once again, welcome to the Indie Unplugged. Let's jump right into it. So, once again, this first question is going to be a loaded question for you.
Okay.
So you started writing when you were 10. You performed
Mhm.
when you were 16. But before
Mhm.
that, you wanted to be a lawyer, a judge, a pediatrician, right? We all have these aspirations as we're growing up. I wanted to be a singer, but that ain't happening. Uh, so growing up in Decatur with such a rich cultural background, what pulled you into music? And do you still feel like with what you wanted to be, a lawyer and a judge, et cetera, that you're still fighting for something just through a different platform?
I feel like my parents are mainly the reason why I decided to pursue music because I was just exposed to different genres from country to blues to jazz to R&B to pop. I think they did a very, very good job with allowing me to be well versed in being a true lover of music. And then growing up around people that were in the music industry and the entertainment industry, that definitely deepened the love, coupled with me basically just being like a storyteller. Language arts in school was my favorite subject, so I was always telling stories and writing for sure. So I think that's kind of how everything just married.
So did you grow up in a home where your parents were playing music throughout the house and
Yes,
you would come down on Sunday morning, they were dancing and cleaning and uh,
cleaning up to music for sure, 100%.
for sure, 100%. It's amazing because you started off wanting to be a judge and a lawyer and a pediatrician, but found
Mhm.
yourself doing something completely different. Um,
Yeah.
so how did you reconcile saying, you know what, I understood what my aspirations were, but I know the future that I want to have.
I feel like as a kid, you really don't necessarily know what you want to do, so you just kinda, like, say anything. That's why people like, "Oh, I wanna be a firefighter," or "I wanna be this, I wanna be that." Very seldom do they actually grow up to be that. Like, for me, I wanted to be a pediatrician because I thought I loved kids, and I do love kids, but I realized that I don't love kids that much. So that kinda wavered, and then with being a judge and then becoming I mean, being a lawyer and then becoming a judge, I was like, "Okay, cool, I like that," but I don't necessarily care for, like, the whole police and the
Mhm.
legalities and laws, so I was like, maybe that's not what I wanna be as well." So, it definitely took some soul searching, and then when I wrote my first verse, I was like, "Okay, this is something that I actually enjoy doing, it's something that I like." And then as the time went by, I started becoming more and more focused with it and realizing that that was my gift from God because your gift is what you do the best with the least amount of effort. And writing music and just performing and stuff like that. I think that came like second nature to me, honestly.
Wow. Do you remember what the song was about?
Honestly, it was just like an intro, like just saying who I am and how I'm on the track with my brother, because it was a family friend that used to
Mm,
always just make beats and rap in our basement. So I was just like, "It's me. I'm here. I'm from Atlanta. I'm from Decatur, where it's greater." Just one of those
mm.
fun records for sure.
So how did growing up in Decatur, how did that influence your music with your cultural background? How did you kind of blend those two together to start the influencing of Miss Cox?
I feel like I am East Atlanta, I am Decatur, that's where I am because literally that's my upbringing, but the mix or happy montage of the other things came from my family, like, my my mother and my father, all of my siblings were born in New York, different parts of New York, and then they moved to Atlanta and had me, so I had to go to New York every single summer, so I spent time up north, of course. And then from my dad's side, my family is Panamanian. So of course, going to Panama and experiencing the Panamanian culture, it was just different, I would say. My parents did a very good job with not keeping me in Atlanta. So I think because I traveled a lot as a child, I think that definitely influenced the overall sauce or flavor when it comes to Miss Cox.
Mhm. So, and I know I've known people to who have different backgrounds and different roots to abandon a certain side of them to be able to fit into a certain a certain cultural mode or cultural mold, I probably would say. And it's good to hear that you blend your roots together to create who you are as an entity and as a brand. Uh, because I know a lot of people shy away from that. Well, I know I was raised this way, but I don't include that into any other music
Mhm.
that I do. And that,
Absolutely.
yeah, that plays a huge part in how we are raised and how we express ourselves as artists, as musicians, etc. Like I said, I wanted to be a singer, but that didn't
Yeah.
happen. So uh,
Not but that didn't happen.
that didn't happen. Now I'm 51 years old. I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking about going to be a singer again. So, um, but you never know what life throws you because it throws you curveballs in the way of things that you probably have never ever considered. Um,
That's true. Absolutely.
so for you, one of the things that I've learned as I was doing, I'm a research guy. People know that
I love that.
was that you described your sound as mood music.
Mhm.
Oh, the question, here it comes. So, how do you define that term? And what would you say is the current mood of the music industry right now?
So I describe mood music as just making you feel good no matter what mood you're in. Not to use the same word, but whether you happy, there's music for you to be when you're happy. Whether you're sad, there's I have music or songs that can help you get out your sadness. If happy, sad, mad, angry, you just got broken up with, you're in your love girl era, like for the different variations of moods that a person can be in, just being human. Um, I definitely feel like I have music that helps you with whatever mood and then helps you go past whatever mood you're in. And as far as like the scene right now, the music, I just feel like they're in a time of making music fun again. Like, I
Mm,
mean, yeah, you're getting the bang bang shoot 'em up music, but at the same time for Atlanta itself, everybody is hope like it's getting back to that old Atlanta feel, going to the skater rinks, getting twerked on, having a blast and just having a good time, being fun, having fun. So I'm grateful for that. And I think Metro Boomin definitely was a pioneer of bringing it back by doing the Futuristic Summer project with a lot of the Atlanta people that made the paymakers that made the way for the sound as a whole.
mhm. Yeah, that's my St. Louis brother right there. So,
Yeah.
yep. Um, so that's because Atlanta it defines a lot of things. It defines
Mhm.
a lot of the culture that takes place from a music perspective. Uh,
Mhm.
and so getting back, you sometimes you hear that, getting back to old Atlanta, uh,
Mhm.
what it symbolized back then.
Mhm.
Right. So you think about like roll bounce and you think about
Mhm.
culture of Atlanta back in that time. Um, and you think about today's music and you consider where we kind of are in the landscape of today's music and the influence that music has today culture, on the
Mhm,
world, and on people in general, right?
mhm.
So how does your music either reflect or push against the mood of the current culture today?
I feel like my music definitely reflects it, like I said, just because we wanna bring not organic, the organic, authentic feel of Atlanta. Everybody's just having a good time and vibing, and I think just having that and then being able to, like, get out and actually mix and mingle with the people that paved the way, before me and getting, like, stamped by them and just being a lover of knowledge. So hearing what they went through, hearing what they did, hearing their contribution to the world and to the society as far as the Atlanta scene and music is concerned, I think for me it just helps the elevation and the growth because I you have to know where you come from to kind of get a gauge the path of where you going.
Hmm. And sometimes people don't think about that, right? So
Yeah.
you gotta gauge the path where you're going and the reflection on the culture and the history that has birthed the music that you actively participate in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you got to think about how you're cultivating that sound and how you're representing the sound that
Mhm.
you're a part of, right? That culture.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Um, and sometimes I think people sometimes just go way left with with how they do that, but that's a completely different story. Uh, so so here's an interesting question. Um, Even though for me, St. Louis is home, I'm a Virginia native.
Okay.
And so I heard that Missy Elliott is your biggest
Yes.
influencer, right? That's
Yes.
like
Oh my God. Yes.
right. And so
Yeah. 100% yes.
um yeah, so how do you describe your artistry, your sound in context to being influenced by someone as legendary as Missy Elliott?
So I say Missy because she's literally like to me, in my eyes, the epitome of a phenomenal entertainer. And that is in all facets. So from when she steps foot on stage or whatever she's doing, you're entertained. Like Missy takes a lot of effort and time that she puts into making her stage sets be great and everything around her just be on a whole different level that's like astronomical. So I think for me, that's why I say I'm an entertainer. I'm not just a rapper. I'm not just a singer. I'm not just an artist. Like I'm an entertainer. I want people to be entertained from start to finish. If I'm doing an interview, I want them to be captivated, whether it's a more like a chill, laid back interview or whether I'm performing and it's like a live mic drop type of thing where you catching that energy. The objective is to have people entertained as to be a true entertainer.
Yeah, I mean you're right because Missy is very meticulous in the way that
Yes.
she delivers
Yes.
her
Yes.
and wearing many hats. I think that's the thing.
Yes.
Oh, learning about Missy Elliott is that she has worn and continues to wear multiple hats. Being
Absolutely. For
a
sure.
songwriter, being a producer, being an artist, and just being able to cultivate that in her artistry is, and of course, Elliott's style is just, I mean,
Different. It's just different. Like it's like no other, literally.
who's wearing garbage bags in the rain and
Nobody's doing that. Nobody. If you know somebody, name them, let me know, but there's nobody that's just doing it like Missy.
not
They
even
can't.
not even today. That I don't.
No, they cannot.
Yeah, I don't think there's a comparison. So in that same vein, when I look at the music landscape today of artists that are out here,
Mhm,
it's hard to differentiate who is who,
mhm,
right? So let me give you an example. I remember listening to a Cardi B song, no, a Nicki Minaj song, thinking it was somebody else, or a Cardi
mhm,
B song, thinking it was somebody else, because they all started
mhm,
to sound alike. They all started to sound alike. They all started to look alike. They all started to have the same flow. And I was like,
mhm,
I don't really know who this is, but is that who this is? And they're like, no, that's this person. But
mhm,
Missy Elliott, it was undeniable who
mhm,
she is, and when you heard her music, you knew it was her, right?
mhm.
Um, and so today, when we talk about mood music and Missy Elliott being a influencer in your life, and we talk about cultural and historical elements of music, Do you find that music today is very cookie cutter or lacking ingenuity or innovation, and it's just everybody sounds the same and moves the same and looks the same and
I'm gonna say no on that one, because I feel like the people that are on right now, they all sound different to me. Everybody's kind of like developing their own lane. You could kind of tell where they're from based off of some of their deliveries, but as a whole, they still have like their own distinctive sound.
mm,
So, like, you don't have, for example, a Nicki Minaj and then so and so that's out right now but popping, but they sound like Nicki Minaj. It's like everybody kinda has their own unique sound. Like, Mana Leo sounds like Mana Leo, Bunna B sounds like Bunna B, YK Niece sounds like YK Niece. It's not like she sounds like somebody else.
mm. I was just curious,
Yeah.
because sometimes you hear about there being, I understand the aspect of people model themselves after an artist who came before them, right? So if you
Mhm,
think about Lil Kim, Nicki Minaj modeled herself after Lil Kim, you know,
mhm.
the same type of uh,
Launching
colors and
yeah.
brushes and things like that, style a little bit. And so I was just curious as to how you see the music scene from that perspective. Uh, if you
I
feel,
definitely could see the influence, but as overall, I would say no. Like everybody still kind of like they take a piece of something or someone, and then from there they kind of like flip it to where it makes it their own thing. But I feel like that goes hand in hand with branding. Like in order to have a brand, like what sets you different from everybody else? Like why do people want to deal with you over everybody else?
Mhm. So, if as you're saying that, one of the questions that I have is, a lot of times today there's the pressure for artists to be everything.
Hmm.
Director, marketer, the label, the brand strategist, the content creator, you name it. We all wear multiple hats today. So how do you balance all of that and still keep your love for the music?
Honestly, I have a really, really, really good team. We operate as a very much so dysfunctional family, but I have a really, really, really good solid team from my manager to my mother, who is the CFO of my entertainment company. Because Miss Cox is not just an artist; I'm a brand, a whole entity. So it's a LLC. In addition to me starting up my own label, my mother is very hands on. My sister is also hands on in my business. My brand manager, she doesn't mind flipping her hats and doing different things. So I think as a whole, it's just having solid people that understand the goal and the task at hand, and their goals align with what you have going on. I think that's what makes a strong team, because people like I can have a vision for myself, but then I could bring a manager in and my manager's vision is going to be something totally different from what my vision is. And that's when an artist has to understand and know, like, yeah, I need to go ahead and cut this person off, because not because they're a terrible person, but because our visions don't align with each other. Because at the end of the day, your manager is supposed to align with what you see, what you have going for you and your purpose. Now they can guide, they can advise, but as far as just changing your whole plan, your whole focal point, and everything else that you have going on, I don't think that would be beneficial to the overall, I guess, ending result of what you see for yourself. So definitely having a strong team. Like I don't do it all by myself.
Mm,
I do a lot, yes, but I generally start the thing. So I may come up with an idea for some new content, and then I'll tell my brand manager, and then she takes it and she runs with it and gives me like a whole rollout for how I'm gonna do my content. And then or I may tell my mother like, hey, I want to open up another account or do this business, and then we need to add this person to payroll or anything like that. And then my mom will go and be like, okay, cool. I need all the information. And she reaches out to them. Or I tell my sister, like my manager will post in our group chat, like, hey, add to calendar this is this. And my sister runs my calendar. So she kind of keeps me abreast of, hey, you have an interview today. Hey, you have this going on. Hey, you have that going on. And then my manager kind of just does, well, not kind of, he just does a good job with keeping everything level. Like, if I tell him, hey, I need a moment, I need a day, he does not mind me taking a day, like because he's super duper big on mental health. Going, if you have a therapist, going to therapy, going to counseling, or just taking a day. So when you're overwhelmed, to be like, listen, I need a break from everybody. let me just detox and just unwind and unplug. Phones are off. I'm okay. I'm alive. I'm not, suicide or anything like that. I just need a moment.
Mm.
And I think he supports that, just to avoid the burnout because he know, like, if I'm burnt out, everybody knows when I'm burnt out. They gonna be like,
Yeah.
"All right, all right, you're tired. Okay, cool, we
Right.
understand." And that's how it is, honestly, just being transparent is every day is not a good day. So, with
Mm.
that being said and knowing that as being human, you gotta go with it. I mean, you survive 100% of your bad days. So it's just what you do with your bad day and know that you can keep going from it, honestly.
That's right. That's you know what? Burnout is real because people don't understand that when you get to a point where you're burned out physically,
Mhm.
emotionally, spiritually, like
Mentally, physically, it's
mentally,
just
it
it's
can
all
lead.
bad.
It's all bad. It's all bad. I
Mhm.
tell people, I say, you got to take mental health breaks. You got to take physical rest breaks because
Yeah,
you don't want is your body making decisions for you. That's
yeah.
the big thing because your body will tell you. I've
And
known
that's what my body does, like,
to tell
I
you.
can always tell if I'm about to get sick because if I don't sleep, and there's times, like, if I at least get a few hours of sleep in between, then I'm okay, but there has been times where I have went, like, 48 hours and maybe had, like, an hour or 2 hours of sleep. I know on that 3rd or 4th day, Imma start getting sick because my body's like, "Oh, so you just gonna run and do all of this and not give me no rest? Okay, cool. Now Imma make you sit down for 3 days because you wanted to run for 3 days." So, it's just like you said, have finding that balance, like, "Hey, I need to prioritize sleep, like, turn the phones off, disconnect, let me go to sleep." And, like, I'm grateful because my mother now be like, "Okay, yeah, I know you tired, go to bed, like, you can sleep. Go ahead." Normally, she'd be like, "You have to eat, sleep, breathe, music, da 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 da," but she like, "Nah, I know you've been running, Imma give you the day. I ain't gonna call you. You got it."
I mean, that's been the thing that's been permeated through the culture is that you sleep when you die, right? You gotta hustle, you gotta grind, you gotta do your thing. And and if you ain't,
Yes,
you gotta
not
you
necessarily,
gotta want
but
it bad as
rest.
you wanna they how they say, you gotta want it bad as you wanna breathe. So you gotta do everything. But people gotta realize your body will shut down. You want a long career, you need to treat your body right so you can have a long career because it will shut down on you and it will break you down and sit you
Absolutely.
down if you do not adhere to it and listen to
Yeah,
it. Uh,
absolutely.
so it's a family affair.
Mhm.
How did you decide to include your family into your journey? What were some of those decisions that you had to make, and what were some of the pros and cons of having family being commingled, family and being in the music business at the same time?
So, for example, like, when I first started, my mother was my momager, as people like to call it, but the whole work, personal life balance, it wasn't really good. So, like, it came a time back when I first started my career that my mother was not allowed in my studio sessions, just because she wasn't like she's gonna give her like she overly gives her motherly thing.
Mm.
So I had to like separate the two. Now that I'm older, I definitely feel like my mother respects me more as a woman and then as a business owner. So she kind of gives me she gives me a little breathing room so we're able to deal with things a little different, but I also know what to put on her plate and what not to put on her plate. So it's not a lot. I give everybody just enough of what I feel like I could trust them with doing and then it works out because the objective is to not have a sour relationship. So you don't want to give them too much to where they can't fulfill what you got going on and then now you're holding them like, well, how, like, you don't want to do that. So I think just giving people just enough, just so you taking the load off of yourself and giving them just enough to where they can manage what they have going on and then still carry it out. I think that definitely matters. And then my family, they're firm believers in like I don't go anywhere. Like earlier, I don't go anywhere by myself. When I'm at the clubs and everything like that, my mother is generally with me at clubs or my sister. My dad is my driver sometimes. And if we taking the Sprinter or the black truck, whatever, he drives for me sometimes. So it's just like I said, we keep it in house just because I feel like in order to be a boss, you have to literally be a boss and let the people around you, they have to be winning as well. Like I can't be having tomahawk steak dinners and everybody else around me is having hot dogs. So if
Facts.
I want everybody to win. I put all of my family and people that are close to me, like my best friends, they both are on my team. Like I put them all on payroll. They all have a job that they do. So, yes, for my best friend, you get to be around me and hang out with me all day, which you would do that for free, but now you get paid to do it. Type of thing is like, hey, I'm on tour. You want to roll with me?
Mhm.
Cool. You know what I'm saying? No one's gonna be complaining. Like we pay for all of the expenses and everything, and you get paid to be there. Like, and I'm with somebody I actually care about and want to be around. They love it. So it
Absolutely.
works out.
That's good because you know a lot of times you hear when families commingle being a family and business, they usually run into issues and have a hard time separating family from business, right? And
Mhm.
it's like when you because you are the CEO of your brand, so
Mhm.
you need to make the decisions to say we're moving in this direction and you're seeking
Mhm.
counsel and guidance, but ultimately the decision is yours to make because it is your brand and your organization. How do you like that? That's always the thing because it's like, well, my mom is the CFO. So how do we make financial decisions? I want to do this, but she may not want to do this. But I'm the it's the brand and the company, right?
I'm
So
the CEO. It's my company. She the CFO. My sister's the COO. Like
yeah, so it's like
But it, like I said, it's that balance. We have
mhm,
weekly meetings for the team on Mondays, and outside of that, I stop by my mother's house maybe like once a week or something, and then we do like a more personal check in, or we'll all go out to eat where we're not talking about business. That be the thing. Like,
yeah,
do you want to talk about business or do you want to talk about personal? What are we doing? Like, it's being intentional with the conversations and what we're doing. I think that definitely goes a
yeah,
long way for sure.
yeah. That is key, and I think you said something in there that was even probably the most important out of all of this is the fact that having your mom as part of this journey with you and her treating you and seeing you as a woman.
Hmm.
That's a key because sometimes when you have parents who are in your business because they're your parents, they're like, "Well, I'm still your parent, so I still see you as my child," which of course
Yeah,
you are,
yeah,
right? But
yeah.
giving you the freedom to make those creative decisions and organizational decisions and to take that journey forward can be tough. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I know a lot of people out there are looking for teams and looking for people to
Mhm.
be involved and have a situation like that where they have siblings or parents that are part of that dynamic. So
And I think it definitely it weighs on the aspect of, um when you're a child, you depend on your parents for certain things, especially like financially. So then when you're older and you're in your adulthood and you're putting people into play of, being able to put people on payroll, and now the roles are kind of switched. So the dependency level is different, which that definitely weighs in on how they perceive you. Cause now it's like, I really want to advise this, but it's like you are making money and I'm okay type of thing. Like that's what I think the people, once they get their money, or the richest people, they always say, I gotta buy my mama a house, I gotta buy my mama a car, because then it kind of like alleviates some of the stress that's on your parents as you grew up. They always had to like support themselves and stuff like that. So when you're able to be in a place to where you can flip the switch or change the roles and you can support your family and never, like, my main prayer has always been like being able to provide for my family but never enable them. So that's why I do things like put them on payroll versus openly giving them, oh, I'm gonna give you $20,000 and everything's fine. Then you're gonna come back and ask me for more. But whereas I put you on payroll, you know that in order for you to work, you're gonna get paid. So if you're not working, you don't get paid.
yeah, you got to put in that work. And that is so that's dope because a lot of
Yeah.
people have that. I'm just going to give you the money and you go out and do the thing. But putting
No.
people
I
on
said, everybody, give me a business plan. You want 20 bands? Give me a business plan, and I got you.
paper.
Don't just ask me for $20,000 just because you want $20,000.
Look, y'all, for y'all listening to this right now, these are gems right here, ladies and gentlemen, from someone who's living it and doing it as an independent artist. These
Hmm.
things she's giving you things like business plan, right? Things y'all need to consider. Getting a team together, right? We didn't even dive into what are the qualities that you look for in people to be a part of your team, right? I mean, those are whole conversation that you can have. But should you have a team? Yes. Do you
Hmm.
need a team in the early stages? Probably not. You may want to start considering depending on where you may be in your journey. But
Hmm.
you are going to need some support through this because you cannot do it all by yourself.
And even with just an artist and a manager, you need more than just an artist and a manager. Like, my manager does a lot. And then as my contribution as being an artist, I do a lot as well, but my manager can't do everything and neither can I. So when you come to that point of knowing that and acknowledging that and realizing like, hey, he needs like my manager need his own assistant. If you ask me, I need my own personal one. He need his own, but then we still need marketing because my manager he didn't go to school for marketing and all this stuff like that. There are people that literally solely focus on advertising and marketing. That's who we need ahead of that. Then we have somebody that's focusing on pitching or agents, like booking agents, going to book shows. Yes, my manager is good for if someone calls, inquires about a show, but actually going out into the markets to see that I'm trending in, that's the agent's job. So the agent does that. Then the brand manager is making sure that you are placed at the certain events and the particular events that you actually need to be at because the brand manager works hand in hand with the publicist. And the publicist does the cleanup of if you made a mistake or you said something wrong, they're gonna do the cleanup, but also make sure that you're in the right place with the right people. So everybody has to, do all of that. But people don't understand that. It's a whole makeup of an artist. They see an artist and they think, I'm gonna do music, I'm gonna go in the studio, I'm gonna perform, I'm gonna rap, that's it. But it's so many other factors that goes into being an artist and actually fully functioning. Like getting your name trademark, your if you have a slogan, your logo designs, if you have merch, you need that's a way to make money as well. People don't know that. They like I said, it's just I did a song yesterday in the studio, now pay me 500 to perform. It does not work like that. People will pay you, but then also on the back end, are you registering every place that you perform to make sure that you can get money in addition to what you've been paid?
That's
People don't know that.
that's where my gems at over here. Let me see if I can
Like, they don't know that, this is a whole thing, like,
find the gem.
that's why I say I don't wake up and just be I didn't wake up one day and was like, "Huh, Imma do music." Like, I literally was like, "Okay, God, what am I supposed to be doing?" And he's like I said, he's this is your gift. You have to operate in within your gift, and that's it. So, this is not a hobby to me, this is a lifestyle, like, it is what it is, like, you really have to be all in, and I think that would be the only thing that kinda, like, I don't agree within the culture because people, they don't know how in depth it is to actually be an artist and be a full functioning artist. Like I said, they just think it's simple, write a song, record a song, rap, perform.
Well,
That's it.
that's what I see. That's what's projected on social media, and
Yeah.
what the stories are that people tell of how they became successful. But we never
Mhm,
hear the stories of all the things they had to do in between in order to make that a reality, right? We're so caught up in a soundbite culture or a real REEL culture where
mhm.
you see the glitz and the glam, but we never really think about all the things that go into it. Ladies and gentlemen, she's giving y'all. I'm telling you, but y'all heard me say it. Y'all heard us say it on the podcast as a gazillion times. You're hearing it being said
Yeah.
now by somebody who has thousands of followers, somebody who is been doing shows, touring, working with artists, and has her own organization and brand. I'm telling you, these are the gems, man. So,
Yeah.
in that same vein, while you are wearing all of those different, because as an artist, a lot of us wear a lot of those different hats, and since that now you can offload those to different individuals.
Mhm.
What were some of the challenges that you faced specifically, whether they were structural challenges, organizational challenges that you faced, whether it was from promotion, streaming, touring, etc.?
The challenges, uh, mm, from touring,
Or just in general, in your music career in general, what have been some of the major challenges that you faced, and how did you deal with those challenges?
so one, I would say, definitely firing people, knowing that it's okay to fire a manager. Like I said earlier, if they don't align with your path, because people think like, oh, I have to have a manager, and you do at a certain point, depending on where you at, but they also have to go align with you. So I would say definitely doing things to switch your team out and figure out what's really going on in that facet. And then after that, another challenge I feel like was getting that love back after being shot and having to, come back from not being able to walk and all of that stuff like that, not even being able to write, be in a studio for almost a year. I think developing that love and gaining that fuel and fire again, because I definitely feel like it was burnt out. Not because of mentally, but just from the headspace I was in. And then being a female in such a male dominated industry, I will also say that that is a big challenge, honestly, just because people automatically feel like if you're a female, you're attractive. You had to have slept your way to get to, wherever you got to. And I'm honestly proud to say, like, everything that I've accomplished thus far has not been because of somebody. It's been because of me, like, putting in like hard work
Mhm.
and effort. Like, I haven't slept with anybody in the music industry to be like, yeah, okay, cool. Let me sleep with you so I can get on tour tomorrow, or give me $30,000 into my business and then I'm gonna sleep with you. Like, I don't really do that. I do more so we separate the business and the personal. Like,
Mhm.
if I do deal with you personally, then that's what I'm dealing with you personally. If I deal with you on a business tip, I deal with you on a business tip.
So, so you're answering a couple of questions that I have anyway. So let's talk about each one of these, right?
Okay.
So the first one, since that was where we ended, being a female in a male dominated industry, right?
Mhm.
Always tough to deal with. Always a situation that you have to navigate very carefully.
Mhm.
So how have you done that? And what were some of the barriers that you put in place or parameters you put in place to ensure that those situations and things did not happen?
I think for me, on the main thing was just developing, and setting my boundaries and my levels of respect. So if I go into a situation, a person's like, "Oh, you're so dope. I want to work with you." I'll go, I'll see, and I'm big on energy. So if I feel like the energy is off or the intent is wrong, I have to know, like, this ain't for me. I'm gonna walk away from the situation. If a person is initially like, "No, I don't want anything from you," and then the next time I see them, they want to rub on the thigh. I'm like, "Nah, this ain't that." So I think knowing when to leave definitely matters, and then also being zero tolerance out the gate, like being completely intentional with, hey, I'm here to work. I would love to do a song, that instead of
Mhm.
like giving people the hope of being able to get something out of me that I'm not promising them.
Yeah, because I have many conversations with female artists, entrepreneurs in the music space, and that's always something that they have to deal with is navigating being in studio sessions with men, being in late night writing sessions with men, and how do and of course, men are like, hey, if you do this, then I'll get you over here. It's a quid pro quo type of thing. So having those boundaries in place is absolutely a necessity, right? So you have to have those boundaries. You have to have a zero tolerance policy for yourself that says, if this starts to go this way, I would not accept this, and this. Like we don't even play these type
Mhm.
of things. Um, and I think it's important, and I know a lot of people struggle with that. And to say, well, if I want to be successful, I got to give in a little bit. I got to, compromise a little bit. I got to
Not at
and not at all, right? You don't have to
all.
you don't gotta do that. But I do know people that struggle with it. And they're like, well, if I want to make it and be successful, then I got to do maybe
Yeah.
something. Um,
Because what's meant for you is gonna be meant for you regardless.
mm,
So if you feel like you have to do something different, no, you don't. No,
mhm.
you don't.
No, you don't. And that's what I would say. I would say to late, and I can't give ladies advice like that, but guard yourself
Mhm.
because there, there are predators in the music.
Mhm.
There are people that will prey on women in the music industry, right? I am the person like you won't catch me in a studio session with a female by myself, right? That's not going to happen. I rarely interview people. A lot of people know I do interviews in the home, right? And so until we get an actual physical space, but they will all tell you every female that has been over here who is the first person they meet, the wife. So they already know there's parameters when they meet the wife, and and she's like, "Yeah, what's good? You coming to interview? All right, then I'm watching you." Right? No,
Mm.
she's not like that, but she definitely is the first person that they meet. because she's a very important part of this process, and there's zero compromise in anything. So you gotta set those boundaries. And I know a lot of
Absolutely.
people sometimes struggle with it. The second part of that, what you said, was I was calling it a life altering moment for you, but
Mhm.
you got shot. Um, that's devastating. That can be devastating.
Mhm.
Uh, Physically, of course, because it had a physical impact. Mentally,
Mhm.
of course, because you
Mhm.
probably start to doubt yourself. The energy may not be there. The commitment level may not be there. Um, so, how did that moment shift your perspective on life and your purpose as an artist?
It definitely took a lot of soul searching, like I said, because I was just in, like, such a vulnerable state, and I was my mom was like, "Oh, write music and talk about it and stuff like that," but I just was kinda, like, trying to wrap my mind around everything that happened, and, of course, you're not supposed to question God, but at the same time, I was trying to figure, like, "What are you trying to tell me?" Not necessarily why.
That's not true, though. No, no.
What, questioning God?
Yeah, you can definitely question God. A hundred
But they
percent.
say you're not supposed to.
No, it's not. That's not in the Bible. But
Okay.
it's,
So, I think for me, instead of saying, "Why me?" or "Why God, why?" it was more so, "What are you trying to tell me?"
mm,
Because I feel like he definitely has a funny way of showing things, and sometimes it could have been like, "I tried to tell you this before and you didn't listen to me." So it took for something drastic to happen for you to have a snap back into reality.
right.
So I think it was that, not saying like, "Oh, I should have been shot," but at the same time, it's like, maybe he was telling me stuff and I wasn't listening. Maybe my ears were clogged, and now I had to, had to go through something for me to be able to hear him clearly. So
Mm,
I think that is probably what happened in that particular instance, and then it's just, again, relearning yourself, finding your mental. Once you figure out why or what you got going on, what's your purpose,
mhm.
then you kinda maneuver from there.
Yeah, because that can be devastating, right?
Mhm.
You're like, is it all over? Where do I go from here?
Yeah.
How do I re-enter into maybe those same type of environments?
Mhm.
And it's like, do I need to be cautious? At
Mhm.
every moment, like I am a person, you will not catch me standing still somewhere looking at my phone or walking without me looking around. Ju-
Mhm.
That's just not going to happen because
Mhm.
people out here will do things that, you know, you got to be very mindful of. And that could be something that's very detrimental to have a situation like that, that you have to pull yourself back into an environment that kind of, I don't want to say caused it, but um, was influential in that situation actually happened. Right?
Mhm.
How do you re-enter that situation with more clarity, with more diligence, with more determination, knowing that this situation transpired and could have derailed the entire thing? Um, I've interviewed artists who, uh, well, I remember interviewing one lady. And I'm not going to tell it right because I never can recall stories right. I think she had a major accident and it almost took her out. And then for like a year or so, 2 years, she couldn't really do anything. I mean, I remember a guy that I interviewed, something happened and he couldn't function for like almost a whole year. But
Mhm.
now they're back into the music with more clarity, with more determination than they ever
Mhm.
were, before. And it's kind of like
Mhm.
a wake up call, like
Absolutely.
either I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this. So let me put all into to doing this. Um, yeah, that's just I can't imagine what that would feel like in that situation. So,
Yeah.
do you ever feel the pressure to be Miss Cox? Like, even when you're not in the mood, even when you don't feel like being Miss Cox, how do you deal with that and protect your own peace of mind when you want to just be your regular old self?
Um, I think it's a switch. So, even if it's something that I may not wanna do, I know it's for greater good and it's a purpose in it. So, turn the switch on and then turn it right back off.
Do you find that difficult to do?
Nah, I do. It's second nature to me.
Mm,
Like, I people have literally spoke about it. Like, I used to be on the road, I would be knocked out, completely sleep, everything, and then pull up to an event and gotta just jump up, and I would jump up, "Alright, what's up? Hey, y'all," and they like, I wasn't just knocked out. Like, it's been instances where I was literally, like, knocked out sleep, and then, "Alright, they ready."
Mm,
I'm waiting on, because 'cause you're waiting on something, maybe an interview, or maybe on this, or maybe on that, and I would be completely knocked out sleep, and then you just gotta spring into action type of thing.
Yeah, I used to have a friend who is a Grammy award-winning artist and producer, and I've literally seen a situation where he was just his regular self, and when he left, he became the artist. I mean, and
Mhm.
you could tell. I mean, it was like, whoa, that was a switch that took place. You
Literally.
know, and sometimes we may not want to be on all the time. All right,
Mhm.
you may want to be just you. Uh,
Mhm.
and sometimes there is a lot of pressure to be who we are as our personas and to
Mhm.
operate in that on on an everyday capacity. Um, and so how do you, even in that same vein, what are things that you do specifically to just be mindful of yourself, to take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually?
Think I like I said earlier, kinda just make sure that I factor in those mental breaks. So, if I like, maybe at least once a week, not once a week, that's not realistic. Maybe once every 2 weeks, I may, or 3 weeks. I try not to go past 3 weeks without taking a day. Like I said, where I just detox, and I call it my charging period, where there's no phones, no people, no nothing. I just be in the house all day. If I don't wanna cook, I don't cook. I make the food come to me and just be in my room and just, like I said, recharge for what's going on.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's important to have boundaries and have systems and plans in place for mental, physical, spiritual, emotional health. Um,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So in a different vein, so for you, you've s- segued part of your career into acting. Uh,
Mhm.
how did that transpire, right? Because you've had films on Tubi and Amazon and Peacock. Was that always part of the vision? Did it just open up unexpectedly? And how has acting influenced your brand and your music?
Well, acting was always something that was supposed to be in addition to music. It's just that, you can't really focus on multiple things at one time, and music has always been my first love. So, outside of that, when my mother did notice that I was taking the music and I was performing and writing and stuff like that, she always was like, would preach the triple threat, triple threat, triple threat. So, I started acting classes around 15 to 16 years old as well, a few dancing classes, and then of course like model coaching and stuff like that. Dancing, I'm not really like the big dancer, but definitely modeling and doing other stuff like that. She just wanted me to just be well versed as a all around entertainer. So segueing into doing movies and stuff like that wasn't hard, because like I said, it's already been something that I was familiar to. It was just, honestly, I think for me, just the timing of it and bridging the gap. Every movie that I've been in, I made sure that I had music on the soundtrack. And it's just a different, acting is like my second love for music, because I get to just embody and be someone else. Miss Cox is me, but when you meet with a director and they're casting you from a different role and stuff like that's somebody totally different that you could just be free to be. So I think that is the love that I have, because it's a monotony break.
Mm, yeah, it gives you a chance to be someone else, to operate in a different capacity.
Mhm.
And it's smart. I always tell people that it's smart that you have your own music in the movie, right? Because you get, I mean, that's sync money right there that you're gonna get.
I'm a
So
businesswoman.
you're a businesswoman, and a lot of times people don't think about that. Oh, I just did this, but wait, but did you consider this? Because that's going to give you residuals from a sync perspective. Well, I didn't think about that, but you got to think from that business perspective. So,
Mhm.
I know someone I interviewed, Butterby Rocket, does the same thing. Um,
Mhm.
and she does film and she does music and all that, but she ensures that all of her music are in all of her films, and
Mhm.
always the way that you want to do it. So, So let's talk about this, 'cause I do want to get your perspective on something that I'm trying to remember who made the comment. I think it was I think Joe Budden made the comment. Uh, but I think a lot of people made the comment, but I remember hearing Joe Budden lately make it. So there's been a lot of talk about women in hip hop and R&B over sexualizing and are expected to sell sex before talent. As
Mhm.
an artist who blends both confidence and creativity, how have you navigated that pressure, or how have you pushed back against it?
I think I do a good job with giving a happy median. So I will give like the sexual music, but then at the same time, I show the aspect of me actually being able to rap. So when I'm in the studio, I'm big on changing up flows and doing different things. So whether it's the topic, the lyrical content, I still show the versatility in actually being able to rap with changing flows and doing different things. And instead of saying it like surface level, I make it more tasteful, should I say.
Mm, hmm. Yeah, that's always something that I don't, and that's probably why I mean, men aren't over sexualized in hip hop. No, you don't see that. But it's always when women are over sexualized in hip hop is that a concern? Because I remember them saying things about Sexy Red and Cardi B and Glorilla and Meg The Stallion. That that's that's and a lot of them have skills, and I mean bars. Like
Mhm.
to me, out of all of, maybe I'm gonna get some controversy here, but to me, Nicki Minaj is probably the pinnacle at this moment of dope female rappers, right? Like I don't know if you feel the same way, but for me, she's like the bar. Uh, but when you think about the music, when you think about what transpires from a visual perspective, the question is it over sexualized from, and does that over sexualization take away from the music itself? I don't know.
Mm, mm-mm.
I don't know. Do we pay more attention to the music, or do we pay more attention? I mean, it's both, because guys are looking, right? That's
Yeah, I was just about to say,
guys
I
are
could
your
I
feet.
can stand on a stage and talk about, I don't know, cotton candy, but if I look a certain type of way, I'm gonna be sexualized regardless of what's coming out of my
Mhm.
mouth, if you get what I'm saying. And I could talk about cotton candy wearing a turtleneck and pants all the way down to the ground. I don't even have to be naked, but it's you're gonna be women are just sexual creatures, and they're gonna be sexualized regardless of what comes out of their mouth.
I mean, Doja Cat wore a cow outfit and did a song called "Moo, I'm a Cow."
And everybody loves Doja Cat.
Everybody loves it, and that's kind of what put her on the map, was that song. Um, so for you, for your own music, uh, what drives you when you are creating your music? Right, I had a chance to listen to several pieces of your music, especially the ones that we talked about. But what drives you in the creation of your music?
It just depends on the vibes. Like, I'm big on energy and vibes, and generally my producer call me and be like, "Hey, I got one," and I'll go in the studio, hear it, and we may have some tequila going, and we just have a vibe. So it really just depends on what energy is in the room at that time, and we just go from there.
Mm. Oh, yeah, it's always curious to kind of consider, how do you approach the creation of your own music, and how do you interject your style into that music? So what's next? What's coming up? What you got, some projects coming up, new music that's about to drop?
So my new EP just dropped on my birthday, which was January 30th. It has been out for almost 2 weeks now, so make sure that everyone goes to stream that. It is one of 4, so I do plan on dropping 3 more periodically throughout this year. Definitely stay tuned to Miss Cox taking over your TV screen, in movies or TV, reality TV, dot, dot, dot. Just stay tuned for that. New wave of merch and definitely on tour. Honestly, to couple it all up, I would just say expect the unexpected when it comes to Miss Cox.
Mm, yeah, so so you're gonna do 4 EPs in 2026?
For sure.
It's easy to do. That's the thing. It's
They already done.
You're already done, ladies and gentlemen, already done, and that's critically important. So I just have 2 last questions for you.
Okay.
So if a young girl watches your video or hears your music and says, "I want to be like Miss Cox," what do you hope she actually is picking up from that?
Self-awareness, self-importance, and being free. And I say that just from seeing me, listening to me, I just want a younger version or a younger female to just be able to be like, okay, I can do it. I can be free. I can be myself and stand firm on who I am and stay true to
Mm,
myself.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, because whether we realize it or not, we are role models for someone, and someone is always going, "I wanna
Yeah.
be like that. I wanna emulate that."
Mhm.
It's always important to think about how we influence the minds of
Mhm.
as well.
And
Uh,
I got 12 nieces and nephews, so I got people looking at me with a fine tooth comb like,
right.
"What'd you do? Let me see what you did, TT. Let me see. Auntie,
Right.
let me see. I gotta see." So
That's right.
I don't have a choice really.
Mhm. And it's always just being mindful of that because we are setting the stage for the next generation to follow in. Uh,
Absolutely.
and so, last question is, if you were to give advice to inspiring artists, specifically aspiring female artists getting into this industry, what would you tell them?
So my advice kinda changes from day to day. Um, Today I am really, really feeling like know your worth and stand firm or stay true to who you are. And again, like I said earlier, if it is meant for you, it is gonna be meant for you regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
If it's meant for you, it's gonna be meant for you regardless, no matter how long it takes. It's going.
It doesn't matter. It gets I've been in this game almost a decade, literally. And I've accomplished things, yes, don't get me wrong, but have I reached the epitome of what I feel like, where I feel like I should be as an artist? Absolutely not. Every day is a growing process and you have to continue to elevate and grow. So no, I'm not there yet. I started my label, but I haven't signed artists that are multi-million dollar artists with their own businesses and stuff like that. Like I haven't done that. It's so much more things that need to be done, so you have to keep growing for sure. So
Is
that's what I would tell.
is is that the aspiration that you want to accomplish? Or where do you see yourself and your label within the next 5 years?
So in 5 years, I see myself as in all of my businesses thriving and making multi-million dollars. So whether it's the music, whether it's the cosmetics, whether it's the toys, like whatever I'm doing, those main businesses, the focal business that I have going right now, I see them all having making multi-million dollars, all of them as the company. And then for my label itself, being able to have in 5 years a whole roster, at least like 10 to 15 artists, but all of my artists are flourishing. Like they all have their own other businesses and they're making their own money to where everything's in autopilot. I just oversee everything, but everything, the teams are there, the resources are there, the talent is definitely there, the organization, everything is just there.
That is a very aspirational. I'm trying to think of the right word that I want to put there. That's grandiose things right there, right?
Yeah.
Those are things that you put into place that are far off things that can lead to ginormous things, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you're mentioning several different entities that are in that, and
Hmm.
having a label, and having artists, and having leadership in place to be able to juggle all of that, and that
Hmm.
takes a lot of energy, a lot of organization, a lot of time, a lot of trust to be able to build an organization like that. Uh,
Hmm.
so I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward to seeing how
Absolutely.
that grows within the next, however long it takes, right? I know
Yeah,
it's
however long it takes. Ideally, 5 years sounds great, but if
really,
it takes three, I'm gonna take the three. If it takes seven, we're gonna take the seven.
um, so man, yeah, um, that's very ambitious. I'm looking forward to that. Well, Miss Coxx, man, it's been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure getting
Thank you so much for having me.
absolutely getting to know you, music, had a chance to listen to your music. Where can they find you? Where can they listen to your music? Where can they take part in your journey?
Everywhere at Miss Coxx. My website has all things Miss Coxx, music, merch, all of that, misscox.com. And I'm on all social medias and all streaming platforms at Miss Coxx, MZCOXX. Again, that's MZCOXX. And oh, yeah, it's Cox time.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Uh,
Thank you.
Ms. Cox, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, once again, we'll get in studio so we can chop it up.
Vibe and get that energy in person for sure. Yes.
Sure. But I definitely thank you for taking the time to be on the Indie Unplugged today. And it's absolutely a pleasure that I get a chance to connect with you. So
Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon.
you are welcome. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, that is another interview here on the Indie Unplugged. Once again, I'm B. Vaughn. Please make sure you go support. Please make sure that you go and check out Miss Cox's music, buy some merch. When you see ticket tours, ticket sales and tours, please make sure that you support. That's what we're here for, is for the independent artists. And so we do what we can to ensure that we support one another. But make sure you share this interview with those of you that need to hear it as well. And make sure you support our channel here on We Create Music TV. Once again, greatly appreciate it. Have a great night. Peace.